Hey everyone, Mike from Signworx. Today we're going to be doing a technical video. As you know, we have our Anajet MP5i. What we're going to be doing today is changing the encoder strip out. This would be necessary if you're having maybe a couple print problems if it's not lining up properly. I'll also give you some advice before we change it out on what you can try to do before you replace it. Maybe it might help you out. So let's just open it up and I'll show you where the encoder strip is. So, right here on the back, it might be kind of hard to see this clear plastic strip. This is your encoder strip. This is what sends the data to your carriage. And it extends all the way from both sides, and the carriage runs along it. What you can do, if you're having some print issues when it's not lining up properly, what you can do, just take a lint-free cloth and just some rubbing alcohol, just some isopropyl, put it on there and just go the length of the strip back and forth. But one thing to remember, you do want to release your carriage so you can move it back and forth. So, because you want to get on both sides all the way across. Because there's a black section on the encoder strip that goes from here all the way to the other side. On the back side of the carriage, there's a little small like reader that goes over top of the encoder strip. That's actually what reads the strip. Now what you need to remember is that when you take this off and replace it, you want to put it right back inside of that little reader. Alright? So, first have an issue, try to clean it, turn it on and off, just kind of like run it through. After you wipe it down with the alcohol, take another dry cloth and just wipe it down, make sure it's all clean. If it doesn't solve your issue, you might have to get a replacement. So what we're doing today is we're actually going to replace it. We've had a few little print issues. Cleaning it helped, but we wanted to make sure that it's just completely gone, so we're completely replacing the strip entirely. So the only tool that you really need to do is you need to have a very small Phillips head screwdriver. This one right here is a number 0. You could probably do maybe one bigger than this, but you don't want to get too big because the screws are very small. So on both sides of the encoder strip, we have this little section that holds onto it. As you can see, there's a spring and the screws. What we're going to do is we're just going to remove these two screws right here, and on the other side, it has the exact same screws. So let's take it off. Be sure to hold on to these pieces of metal because it does have the spring, and you don't want it to just kind of shoot back because it could cause damage to something if it kind of falls off. So just kind of hold on to it. So as you can see, this is where the other side hooks up. It's got the same two screws. No spring on this side, but it's still going to come across, and we're just going to remove these two screws now. Just hold on to this little metal plate so you don't drop it inside the machine. Okay, so now we remove both sides of the screws. We're taking the strip out. Just for us, we're actually going to hold onto this strip as a backup since it does work. We just want to keep it just in case we ever need it, if the new one that we're putting on breaks or anything like that. Now what I recommend is just putting it in the bag that your new one came in, but put the date that you're changing out the strip for when you put this new one in, just so you can remember, and then just put that it's a used one. Now we have the new encoder strip. Okay. Now as you can see, there's numbers on it. If you can see that, you want the numbers to read backwards when you're looking at it from the machine. So it's going to look reversed to you. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to pull it to the back side and pull it around these little marks right here. There's one on both sides. It's always easier to start the screws with your hand, because it's going to be easier just to kind of get it lined up, so you don't have to worry about holding a screwdriver and a screw at the same time. Now you may have to adjust it slightly later, so just kind of like do it kind of just a loose tight kind of thing, nothing over tightened, just kind of like loose, where it just is a little tight but a little loose. Alright, now you're going to come around the back, you're going to tilt it slightly and put it up into the reader and pull it. I just went ahead and took the spring off to make this a little bit easier. So we're going to line it up. Again, it's probably a little easier to hand tighten it. Okay, so we now have the strip on there. We're going to pull it around, pull the spring out to where it's going to connect back in. Alright, so now that we got the strip in there, we're just going to make sure that it's tight. If you look at it, there's also this little section right here that you can also tighten and loosen for this. So if you didn't want us to take the spring off, I just left it there just because it was the settings that came from the factory. So I figured it'd be easier to put it, that it stayed in the exact same place if I just took the spring off. So now we're going to come back to this side, make sure everything is all tight. And good to go. So now that we've changed it, put this back down, secure the cartridge, or the carriage. It's going to rehome. Let's go exit, back to menu, do whatever you need to do as far as like your jobs are concerned. Alright, real quick, after you change your encoder strip, one quick rule: don't just turn the power off here to turn it back on to reset everything. You have to actually turn it on from the back. Turn it on, unplug it, turn it back on, and then try it again. If you don't, it's not going to line up right. So that's how you change out your encoder strip if you're having some print issues. If you have any questions, you can definitely email us, things like that. But something like this, you can also call tech support over at Anajet. They'll also be able to walk you through it.